Ray Rice. But the point is that they rendered a punishment against him. And there was no new evidence that came out after that initial punishment was rendered. So what Goodell does is everybody sees the video after he gets slapped on the wrist both by the state and by the NFL. With the state, by the way, gave him a slap on the wrist too. Can you imagine, again, that's hypothetical we talked about the poor young black man in the Bronx knocking out his girlfriend, and it's caught on video. Knocking out cold.
Oh, forget about it.
I mean, come on.
He's sitting in the tomb for a couple of days before he even sees a judge.
Yeah, right. You sit there. And in the Manhattan, it's 24 to 36-hour turnaround from the time you get arrested. You're just sitting there, eating cheese sandwiches with the rats running around in the tombs, so it's bad. So
6-year-old milk.
Yeah. So what happens is this guy gets a punishment inflicted against him by the NFL, and Ray Rice says, "Okay, I'm gonna, I understand that, and I'll deal with it." Well, after Roger Goodell gets humiliated by the dissemination of the video through TMZ and all the other news outlets and everybody else, and everybody's looking at this going, "This is outrageous what happened here." Goodell says, "You know what? I didn't punish you hard enough. I'm going to punish you worse now." And that's the point. You can't do that.
Right.
You don't have the ability to do that in the court system and by virtue of the collective bargaining agreement in the NFL. Here, Roger Goodell's hands are tied. And here, I firmly believe he will lose on this appeal that's filed. He will lose, and Ray Rice will be reinstated. Not that he's shown anything this year when he was playing. I mean, not that he's shown any ability to make a difference in a game this year. But I think he deserves to get back in. I think the initial punishment was too light, but that's what it was. So we live with that.
Right.
You can't come back and take 2 bites of the apple. You get 1 bite of the apple, make it a good bite, and then you move on. And Roger Goodell is going to get double humiliated here because now they're going to direct that he be reinstated. And I don't know if Baltimore is going to take him back or they're going to try to trade him. I don't know what they're going to do to him. But I think he will be eligible to play in the NFL this season because the judge who handled the case has, rather than allow the parties to have a month to submit finishing briefs and this and that, she demanded all briefs this week, like 1 week after the arbitration concluded, which is almost record-setting. And she's a brilliant judge. I've tried cases before in the Southern District of New York. She's very smart. She's very sharp. And I think by her demanding briefs this quick, you're going to get a quick decision here. In another week or two, I think we're going to get an ultimate resolution, and I really do think he's going to be reinstated.
Do you believe that Roger Goodell is probably the worst commissioner out of all the 4 major sports, NBA, NHL, MLB?
Well,
or at least you don't see all these crimes.
Worst commissioner in what regard? If you're a team owner in the NFL, you go to sleep with a picture of Roger Goodell on your nightstand because he's just making you more money than you ever could have dreamed of. So he's your hero.
Right.
If you're, a fan looking in at the NFL and the way the players are being treated and the way these decisions are coming down and looks like it's arbitrary.
All these crimes.
Yeah, all these crimes that are being committed, but maybe they were always being committed and not publicized as much. I don't know. But look, Goodell looks bad. Look, but the way the NFL handled, the way the NBA handled the Sterling case, I mean, to me, that was one of the biggest travesties I've ever seen in my life. That was a disgrace, and that commissioner should have resigned based on that. I have no respect for the NBA commissioner based on how he handled the Sterling case. Zero respect for him. That is a punk. He is a punk and a puppet sitting there running the NBA. To me, he's the worst. But Goodell looks bad. And he looks bad for the fans and in the public eye. But if you're an owner and really, people are going to continue to go. The Giants are sold out no matter how pathetic they're playing this year, and it's embarrassing. And Dallas is going to come in and crush them this week. But they got nothing. They got no offensive line, no defensive line. Eli, 5 interceptions. I never heard of that in my life. It's just pathetic what's going on with the Giants. Yet, season tickets sold out. You can't get tickets. They're sold out for the next 20 years.
What about the coach? Is he going to stay?
I think he's gone. I think, how incredible that a Hall of Fame, absolutely Hall of Fame, multi-Super Bowl winning coach is going to be told, you need to resign this year, just like they did to Tom Landry. You're going to have to end it right now because, you're done. We can't continue like this with you. Thank you for the memories, and that's how sports are. Thanks for, it's not what you did in the past, it's what you're doing now.
What have you done for me lately?
I think
what have you done for me lately? And both times he beat Bill Belichick. That's famous. He didn't beat he beat, I guess, the best football coach in the NFL right now.
Well,
and,
probably, but it's over.
Win.
Look, these last two seasons are just disgraceful for the Giants, so I think it's over for Cosby.
Just staying on football, the Oakland Raiders, who haven't won a game all year, are leading 14-3. Let's see if that holds up. They're 0-10, I believe. So,
this is why you cannot bet football, because if you looked at the games last week and you saw the resolutions of those games, your head would spin off.
Oh yeah.
No favorite covered, and and now you look at this and the Raiders. I mean, this was like a gimme game, and to see the Raiders winning like that, it's shocking.
Oh, yeah.
Shocking.
Not with one win. Okay, Jameis Winston, let's touch on him. What's your thoughts?
Jameis Winston, in my opinion, is the greatest college quarterback that I think I've seen in the last 30 years. He's that good.
Really?
I think he's all of luck and more. He's mobile. He's smart. He's big on the field. He's big and strong. He has a beautiful, quick release. He sees the entire field. He reads defenses, and he's a winner. That's a capital W. He's a winner. This guy does not lose. He does not lose. So how the Florida State is ranked third in that ridiculous poll that they have for the playoff is just insanity to me. They are the number one team. They're the defending national champions. They're undefeated, and I don't care. That Miami team was a tough team on a hot team on a home field, and I don't know too many teams that could have beat Miami like that. So I'm telling you, Jameis Winston is a superstar. He is the biggest superstar. He's going to sign $1 billion contract in the NFL, and the Giants should try to go after him or someone. But here's the problem with Jameis Winston. He is out of control. His handlers, I don't know who's handling him. He's out of control. He may not make it to the pros. He may be arrested. Who knows what's going to happen to this guy, because he just finds trouble. He's being investigated for point shaving now. He has this incident on Florida State campus there. If I represent Jameis Winston, if he's my guy, what I do is this. After each game, I put a straitjacket on him, I chain him, I put him into a room, I make him sit there all week, I take him out for practice, put him back in, get him through this season. Because in my mind, nobody can beat Florida State this year. They'll win it again. Once they win a national championship back-to-back, then Jameis submits a letter of resignation to Florida State University, walks out. He leaves. There's no reason for him to stay there. There's no reason for him to participate in any of their internal investigations that are conducted by non-professionals who are people who maybe have a bug up their butts trying to get this guy. Who knows what's going on internally on that campus? I would never allow him to participate in any of that. Any information or evidence that comes out during those can be used against him in a state proceeding. I wouldn't even take that chance. I'd walk out. You can kiss my butt. You don't have jurisdiction on me. I'm getting ready to sign. I'll be the first draft pick, and I'm going to sign. I'm a franchise player. I'm going to sign a huge contract with the NFL, and I can go back to night school if I really want to get that degree. But he should not participate in anything at Florida State. He should just get through this season, get through these playoffs, do his best to win a national championship, and then leave, get out of Tallahassee. Start running. Get out of there. Do not stay.
I know we're only in November, but who do you like to come out of the NFL? I know we're only in Thanksgiving area, but do you have any early predictions for your two matchups in the Super Bowl?
Well, I'm so disappointed with Denver this year. They're just very disappointing. And the thing is, New England,
St. Louis.
I mean, New England looks like they're the team to beat right now. They look very strong. They're doing what they have to win. They always let you down, though, New England. They always seem to fall apart. So I guess right now New England is the hottest team in the AFC, and they're very hot. And you have to just keep an eye open on Dallas, even though I think Tony Romo is a loser. I think he can't. I think in a big game he chokes. He's not the guy. He's not the savior. He's playing with 2 broken bones in his back right now. I think he's very fragile. I think a couple of good shots and that could end his season for him. But Dallas
has generated.
He flew. He played. I mean, he played. But their lines are so dominant.
With 1 win.
Yeah, I mean the offensive and defensive lines on the Cowboys are so dominant right now that, as opposed to the Giants, which are paper thin, that Dallas looks tough. I mean, Dallas looks very tough. But I don't know. I'm looking at Seattle. They do not look like they have it. I look at San Francisco. They do not look like Kaepernick is really struggling this year. I don't know.
Right, compared to a couple of years ago.
I'm looking for the team, and it's really tough in the NFC. I'd love to say the Giants, but I know they have nothing. So it's just it's rough.
Has 1 loss, but their quarterback is done for the season.
He's done. He's finished. He's done. Yeah, he's finished.
But no team has ever represented their hometown. If they somehow miraculously made it, even though they're 8-1, they'd be the first because they're in Phoenix this year.
Yeah,
but
that's
on
nice.
Ferguson,
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
On Ferguson, you think that's going to go in the same way George Zimmerman pretty much went, right?
I think what's going to happen in Ferguson is I think they already know that the grand jury is taking a pass on this one. I think there was just too much conflicting testimony that came before them and too many different versions of the facts and circumstances. And now couple that with the officer, Darren Wilson, actually going in front of the grand jury and testifying for some 4 hours, giving his version of events. That's really unheard of for a target in a criminal proceeding to actually testify without immunity at a grand jury proceeding. I mean, that's really almost suicidal. And because the standard for an indictment, the probable cause standard is just so, pretty easy to reach, and that's why they always say you can indict a ham sandwich, except that this Darren Wilson just may not be a ham sandwich, and too many different versions and facts and circumstances of what went on here, and, any way you look at it, you have a scenario. I mean, have you ever gone to a shooting range? Have you ever fired a handgun in a shooting range with headphones on? It's even with the headphones on, it's pretty loud. Now, if you take those headphones off and you shoot, it's really loud. Now, can you imagine being inside a vehicle and having, maybe being punched in the face, then have a struggle for your handgun, which is on your hip, and having the gun go off twice, almost blow your feet off or whatever, and then inside the car. So now your brain is shattered, your face is hit, you are in trauma right now, and you get out of the car and you tell this person to stop, and then your perception is that this person, and it's not like in the Trayvon Martin case where they show pictures of him riding a pony, when the kid was really 6'1" and a football player.
Right.
Here, Michael Brown...
5 years ago.
Right, Michael Brown is 6'4", over 300 pounds, who, allegedly struck this officer, struggled for his handgun, the gun went off, he is ignoring instructions by the officer and comes after him, and he gets shot. And... in the black community, you say to yourself, how does this not go to trial? How does there not be an indictment here? At least let a jury determine whether or not the officer was justified in what he did. But can't we at least get it there? And the answer, I think, for that in Ferguson, in this case, is no. Because everyone wants justice. Everyone clamors, we want justice, we want justice. Well, maybe justice is that there is not enough to indict this officer. Maybe there are too many versions. We have black jurors that are here. We've had black witnesses that testified in this case. The process was fair. The leaks that are coming out, they're not. It's not. It shouldn't happen. These leaks should not be coming out. But they don't have anything to do with the presentation before the grand jury, these leaks. So the grand jury heard a lot of evidence for a long period of time, and I think what's happened here is this grand jury will not indict. Now, the Attorney General can do like Zimmerman and can go ahead and press charges against Officer Darren Wilson, and they can actually have that criminal proceeding. And I believe if they do that, it's going to go the same way, deja vu all over again. Like Yogi said, you're going to get an acquittal at a trial because I don't think they're going to be able to sustain a burden of proof for a conviction. And the state will look bad, the system will look corrupt, and like it did in Zimmerman. And look, it's just a tragedy. It's a tragedy that this young man was shot. But
yes.
This young man had a little bit on his mind that evening, and for anyone to attack a police officer in a car, that's bad. That's bad. So, do I believe that the officer had grounds to shoot? I do. Did he have reason to shoot 6 times? I don't know. And the 6th bullet was the headshot? Yeah. I mean, the spray was all around, and, for an officer, 6 years on the job, to be going through that kind of trauma and then fear for his life and the safety and fire to stop this man, I think that there's no way they could get a conviction at trial on this particular case. And all the handlers that went out there to try to early on to bring this to light, I think they got to too many of these eyewitnesses, because you have varied stories of what went down here. And if you're a grand juror sitting there listening, I don't think you understand what happened. I don't think you have a clear time frame in your head of exactly what went down here. And if you're confused, then you can't bring an indictment against this guy. And I think that's what's happened. And I think